Welcome back. In Tunisia, President Beji Caid Essebsi, who was admitted to hospital last week, has been discharged in normal health and will resume work in the coming days. That's according to a statement released by the president's son on his Facebook page. The presidency later published a picture of the 92-year-old leader, apparently surrounded by medical staff, as he left a military hospital in Tunis. Mr. Essebsi was taken to hospital on Thursday after suffering a severe health crisis. He has been a prominent figure in Tunisia since the overthrow of veteran autocrat Zain El Abidine Ben Ali in 2011. Now, a court in Mauritania has confirmed Mohamed Ould Ghazouani as the country's next president, dismissing an appeal by opposition candidates over alleged voting irregularities in last month's elections. The Constitutional Council ruled that the former general and defense minister won 52% of the vote, as results indicated in June. Mr. Ghazouani has promised to maintain outgoing President Mohamed Ould Abdelaziz's focus on the economy and security. The largely peaceful election was the first in the history of the West African country to choose a successor to a democratically elected president. Now, here in Nigeria, the National Human Rights Commission has applauded the Nigerian military for performing well at containing insurgency in the northeast of the country. The commendations is coming from the executive secretary of the body in Yola, the Adamawa state capital, while commencing a two-day capacity building program for military officers directly involved in counterinsurgency operations in the northeast.
The fallout of terrorism and insurgency in the northeast since 2009 is displacement of thousands of women and children, separation and death. The federal government set up the Joint Task Force to handle counterinsurgency operations, the maximum effect of which can be felt only if conducted in line with humanitarian principles, focusing on minimal disruption to the lives of the affected population. To make sure things are properly done, the National Human Rights Commission and the United Nations High Commission for Refugees are training members of the military directly involved in the fight against insurgency. Represented here are the Nigerian Army and the Air Force.
The war against insurgency is complicated by the asymmetric nature of the conflict. The insurgents and the civilian population. There is therefore an extreme need to prosecute the insurgency operation to win the hearts and minds of the civilian population of Nigeria. This underscores the importance of this training for mainstreaming respect for human rights norms and civilian protection into the counterinsurgency operations.
The military states its readiness to operate in line with human rights policies.
As a fighting force, and one of our roles as the military is the protection of life and property, and also the protection of our territorial integrity.
This meeting is expected to ensure that the forces understand what is expected of them in a counterinsurgency operation and to sustain the gains recorded so far in protecting the civilian population.
A court in Uganda has ordered the government to pay $6,700 as compensation to Joyce Namata, the mother of a man who was killed in police custody in 2007. The court ruled that Ronald Bikiahaga died as a result of the severe beating and torture he received at Nabigo police post after he was picked up at a film hall and dragged into the police cells. He was found dead the following morning. Reports say it's rare for a court to order the authorities to pay compensation, but there is a question mark over whether the government will pay up. An Auditor General's report for the year ending June 2018 indicates the government owes $176 million in court awards. The body of a man thought to have been a stowaway who fell from the landing gear of a Kenya Airways flight on its way into Heathrow Airport has been found in a garden in London. London police say they were called to a home in Clapham in South London on Sunday after the body was found. A post-mortem examination is due to be carried out and the man has not yet been identified. In a statement, police say they believe the man was a stowaway and had fallen from the landing gear. The statement adds that some items, including a bag and food supplies, were also found after the plane landed. To health matters now, genetically modified mosquitoes have been released in Burkina Faso as part of an anti-malaria campaign. While some critics have raised concerns, the scientists involved say the release, which is the first of its kind in Africa, represents a very important milestone. Burkina Faso's Research Institute of Health Sciences, a government-sponsored body, released male genetically modified mosquitoes in the southwestern town of Bana. It is part of a project funded by Target Malaria, a research body led by Imperial College in London. The Research Institute says the mosquito release conforms to all ethical and regulatory requirements and that it was approved by the community during consultations. Malaria killed more than 4,000 people in Burkina Faso last year and affected more than 12,000 others. And finally on the program, Egypt's mud brick Lahoun pyramid, believed to be built by the 12th dynasty pharaoh Senusret II, is now open to visitors. The pyramid has been closed since its 19th century discovery, but the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities decided to open it as a tourist attraction. Take a look.
For the first time, Egypt's 4,000-year-old Lahoun pyramid is open to the public, displaying age-long antiquities. A small team of archaeologists from the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities spent around a year clearing out the burial chamber inside the pyramid, which had been covered in rocks and debris since its discovery. Fallen stones were restored to their original locations and wooden staircases were installed.
We are in the burial chamber of King Senusret II. Who is King Senusret II? Well, he is the fourth king of the 12th dynasty in the Middle Kingdom. He ruled for a short period, about 12 years. He shared rule with his father for 7 years, so his entire period was 19 years. It is a short period of time. He and his successor, Amenemhas III, built the pyramid here in Lahoun.
A variety of artifacts were evacuated and placed on display outside the pyramid, including amulets, scarabs, shells and chains, which were in pristine condition. Preserved paintings showing hues of green, red and white were also on display in glass cases next to a collection of painted masks.
The white one is ivory, the black is black crystal, and we can see bronze or copper. Amulets, scarabs, shells, chains, catkins, which is still in perfect condition of preservation. Most of those pieces, by the way, they are going straight ahead from here to our museums in Egypt.
And standing inside King Senusret II's burial chamber, the museum supervisor said he and his successor's decision to choose Fayum as their final resting place was linked to agricultural reforms and projects initiated during the Middle Kingdom. The tourism sector is one of the country's main sources of foreign currency, but has struggled since a 2011 uprising that ousted then-President Hosni Mubarak.
Well, that's the program today. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Teniola Shibawale.